Welcome, folks, to the return of Quick Clip Tips. Alright, welcome back, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I want to talk to you today about nuts. I know you're thinking, what is this, Nut Week? A lot of things is coming up about nuts. I don't know why, man. On YouTube and in the groups and Facebook, they're talking about it. And they're all filing their nuts wrong, man. The slots I'm talking about. If you make your own nut and file your own slots in, the way I do it. Now, this is the way I do it. I think I'm the only one that does it this way, but it's the way I've always did it. If you got a guitar, like an acoustic, like I have here, say this guitar's got 13 to 56 gauge strings on it, .013, .056. I think that's what it does have. I file every one of these nut slots the same size as the string is. I've got tons of files that I bought from Stu Mac, and they're expensive. I got a lot of money in those files. And I found a lot cheaper ones from, what's the name of that place? It's in Pennsylvania, I think. Something Luthier. Can't think what it's called right now. I ordered tons of tools and everything from them. Parts even, and just you name it. Anyways, back to the nut. Sorry, old buddy. If, say this guitar has got the bass string is a 56, okay? I'm pretty sure it is, .056. If I take that string off and I decide for whatever reason I want to go to lighter gauge strings, say a 54 or a 52 to replace the 56, it's filed for a 56, .056, but when I say 56, you know. Let's say I go down to a 52, okay? That 52 is going to go down completely down in the nut slot. It's going to be in there too deep. Half of the diameter of the string should be sticking up higher than the top of the nut. We all know that, and I think we agree on it. A 54 or 52 is going to get set deeper down into the slot. For that reason, it's not going to ring right or as good as, as it would, sitting on top of the nut like it should. Plus, your nut action is going to get lower. It's going to be your first fret action. It's going to be lower than it was set at. Well, let's look at it the other way around. Let's say you have light gauge strings on and your nut is filed properly to fit each one of those strings, and you put bigger, heavier strings on top, through that nut. You're not going to have as big a problem because the strings are not going to set down in there, like they would, those little strings would. But, think about the added stress it's going to add to your guitar. Is your guitar made to handle that much stress? Was it made for a light gauge? It should stick to them if it is. You can go like, I always recommend like 1 gauge up or 1 gauge down from what the manufacturer recommends. If I can talk and get it out, I'll do it, I promise. You can safely go 1 gauge up or 1 gauge below what they recommend, whatever the specs is recommended for your guitar. Look up on the internet. It's all over there. It's easy to find for almost any guitar, and see what they recommend for your guitar or one you're wondering about. And like I say, you can go 1 step over that or 1 below it, but you're going to have your nut and your whole setup changes. When you change string gauge, everything changes, man. I know a lot of people just, they'll drop down to little strings and they don't adjust anything. Just play it that way, But like I say, I file these nut slots out exactly to what the string gauge is every time. So that's why I have so many files and so much money in so many files. But it works for me, and it'll work for you if you try it. And your guitar will sound a lot better and play better. If you, like say, you got heavy strings on there like this one does, if I'd go down to even a medium gauge, a light gauge would certainly throw it completely out. The setup I'm talking about, the entire whole setup. I could go down from these big ones to medium gauge, and they call these medium. To me, that's a heavy string. But if you look on the pack, I don't think I have one laying here. Maybe I do. If the whole mountain don't fall on me. Yeah, 13 to 56 is medium. That's what it says there. To me, that's a really heavy gauge string, man, on a guitar. That's what I play on acoustic guitar, but it don't seem like mediums to me. So keep that in mind. If you go switching your string gauge, you should switch your nut gauge. Now you can do the thing like I've showed you before. I put in bone dust and 1 drop of really super thin viscosity CA glue. And you know, if you can't get a nut or whatever, you can fill the slots in like that and then refile them out. And remember, whichever string slot you're filing, point the file at the peg that string's going to wind around, okay? That stops the strings from binding up in the nut. Well, that helps stop them from binding up in the nut. You know, when you're tuning, usually a wound string will get hung out and then it'll ding and it'll go completely out of tune or way sharper than you wanted it to go. Filing them, like I just told you, it will help eliminate that. So good luck with that. This has been a quick clip tip. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, and while we're at it, talking about slots, a lot of people's talking about their saddle slots on their acoustic guitar. No, you don't want the saddle slots. Well, some of them do. Let me take that back. Some of them do. A regular dreadnought guitar like this, the pins are what sets your string spacing. It's the pins, you know, that hold the string in. So your string spacing is set by those. The string should come up and over the saddle, and there shouldn't be no slots in it. In most cases, dreadnoughts I'm talking about. So don't file slots in your saddles, man. Unless you specifically want to change the string spacing, you can do that. You're probably going to have a higher saddle, you know, so you have room to file the slots in. I wouldn't recommend it though. I wouldn't recommend it at all. Most guitars, acoustics, do not have string slots. Unless they're in arch tops do. Usually they do. And there's other guitars that do have. But I'm talking about mainly dreadnoughts. Do not have slots in the saddle. So don't install any in there or put any in there. Cheers. See you next time.